You're not gonna fail. You're watching this video. You're in this community. So we're gonna keep pushing forward and we're gonna kill it. And we're gonna push through 2026 and we're gonna do better than we ever have before. Guys, it is way too early for this.
You're good, go on with it.
This video is gonna be short and sweet and we're just gonna go straight up facts, just the way we always do it. Time is the most important asset and I'm not gonna abuse your time. So let's get straight into it. The majority of folks make running a business look so easy. And the reality is for the majority of you folks, it isn't. So how does that make sense? A lot of people work hard thinking that they're going to achieve these results and after a certain amount of time, they just don't get there. As billionaire Warren Buffett says himself, if hard work was all it took, we'd all be rich. You can work as hard as you possibly want, but if you're not working in the right ways, then you're wasting your time, energy, and money. Can we get rid of the shades? That's a good catch. He just caught that. So within the next few minutes, let's lock in and really pay attention because we're gonna crush the rest of this year out with the right business principles, fundamentals, and practices. See, when a business isn't structured properly, this leads to a handful of issues that, let's be honest, are completely avoidable and sometimes very easily avoidable. You just haven't come up with the proper procedure yet or routine, or maybe your standard operating procedure needs a little bit of tweaking, maybe some additions. And that's perfectly fine because when I started my first company 2 years ago that generated me over $800,000 within the cleaning sector, I ran into all these issues and tough for me, but I had to learn them all on my own. You guys have a golden ticket, a shortcut, and that's this video right here, plus like the tons of other content that we provide for you guys. Completely free, by the way, because we're supporting a community of winners, people who are dialed in, who accept nothing less than living life on their own terms. So let's get right into these 3 major issues that arise when running a company. Number 1 is inconsistent income. How are you supposed to grow or scale a company when you've got inconsistent income? How much can I spend on marketing? Can I run a flyer campaign? How about hoodies? I want hoodies for my company, but we've got inconsistent income. So how do I even know how much I'm able to spend? See all the issues the inconsistent income leads to? And I just mentioned like 3 out of 500 probably. Let's dive in a little further to the inconsistency of income and how this affects my companies. And hopefully this gives you a little bit more clarity on how it can affect yours so that you can avoid these setbacks. I run a cleaning company and a waste management and general contracting company. The cleaning company, it's quite simple. When we first started, it wasn't a very difficult hurdle to overcome, simply because with the cleaning sector, we do a lot of recurring cleanings for folks who are on a weekly cleaning, a bi-weekly cleaning, and a monthly cleaning. This recurring revenue was amazing. Essentially, it was like selling a subscription, except for cleaning. This meant that month after month, as we grew, we were growing in revenue, but consistently. We went from $5,000 months to 10 to 20 to 50 to 80, and I'll admit, the recurring revenue model has really spoiled me. With inconsistency of income, we wouldn't have been able to grow to the extent we did and as fast as we did because we wouldn't have known how much we could have spent on advertisements, how much we could have spent on marketing, how much we could have spent on uniforms. Apart from that, you've got all your supplies and equipment as well. Guys, I wouldn't have been able to purchase 20 vacuum cleaners in one day if I had inconsistent income. I needed to know my numbers. I needed to know that our marketing was working out. I needed to know that we were acquiring new clients week by week. At the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. Your inconsistency of income is actually stunting your growth, and this is something that you can't sleep on. With the junk removal and general contracting side of things, this is a business sector that you guys may be able to relate a little bit more to. Everyone from painters to general contracting. Your revenue is reoccurring, not recurring. Recurring is every single week, every single month. Reoccurring means it happens, but over a few weeks or a few months and whatnot. And so it's harder to build regular income when you're in the sector of one-time jobs, but it still is entirely possible. And the systems we teach in our community, which is linked in the description down below, actually goes through amazing marketing methods, but we'll focus on that a little bit later. All to say that with the general contracting and waste management company, it costs us over $6,000 a month just to keep up and running. This includes the truck, the insurance, the payroll tax, the yard site, the storage facility, probably 10 other things that I just can't even remember because I don't take care of that side of things. But if we had inconsistent income, we would not be able to keep that company up and running, and we wouldn't be in a very good position. And now this leads me into number 2, which actually affects the inconsistency of income, your hiring. Do you guys have a hiring procedure? Do you even have an employee handbook? I see so many people doing hiring wrong. Everything from the training to the actual onboarding to hiring people who you don't even think are going to be the right fit for a job. Do you have proper training procedures? In fact, forget training procedures. Let's start from the very beginning. How do you hire people? Are you going to a cafe every single time you're hiring a person? Do you have a training system that you put people through? Always remember that your time is the most valuable thing you have. So if you don't have a proper hiring procedure, chances are you're wasting your time and theirs. And trust me, I've made every single mistake in the book. I've interviewed people who are absolutely amazing and they just haven't even shown up to day one, which is absolutely ridiculous. Guys, the bare minimum, and some people can't even commit. But hey, this is why you're in the position you're in and they're in the position they're in. And no disrespect to anybody, just 2 different people on 2 different paths. And one person is more locked in and willing to do the extra work for the extra results. And oftentimes, making the wrong hire leads to number 3, which is customer complaints. Typically, when you scale, there are so many moving pieces, and whether you're B2B or B2C, you've always got someone to please. A good or a service, doesn't matter. There's always that end consumer. And if they're not happy, then this is gonna ruin your reputation, but also stunt your growth. Hopefully now you're able to see that it's an entire domino effect from top to bottom. And so let's talk about solutions, the reason why you guys are actually watching this video. As usual, we keep these videos short and sweet for the sake of my time and yours. We get into the details and what you truly need to succeed business-wise. Apart from that, there's a free community in the description down below, which goes into a little bit more depth on everything business, especially niched down into the cleaning sector for both residential and commercial, which, might I remind you, cleaning is a demand-driven business. Everybody needs it. Whether you're a homeowner, a restaurant owner, you own an office space, maybe you own a dental clinic or a gym. Guys, it's demand-driven. People come to you. And this is why the cleaning business is a great business. So for those of you watching who aren't quite sure what sector to get into, I highly suggest you join the free community down below and you see a little bit about what we have to offer, because I can tell you that if I had to start from ground zero and I had $30 in my bank account, a cleaning business is the way to go. And fun fact, I think I actually started with about $50 in my bank account, started knocking on doors, and right now we're pushing 6-figure months. So yeah, it's crazy how fast things can change. With that being said, let's get into how to resolve the inconsistency of income. Let's remember that the only thing that truly takes your company forward is reputation. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say you have 10 clients and 1 complaint. The ratio works the same for 100 clients and 10 complaints. So don't be discouraged. But what we typically see is when a company starts to grow and scale, you get a lot more than the ratio that I just provided, and that's where you have an issue. And when things get hard, AKA the ratio of complaints to clients you have, this is typically where a lot of people fail, or they stop, or they give up. And I'm here to tell you right now that that's not gonna be you. You're not gonna fail. You're watching this video. You're in this community. So we're gonna keep pushing forward, and we're gonna kill it. And we're gonna push through 2026, and we're gonna do better than we ever have before. Because all these issues that we mentioned leads to solutions, which is why you're watching this video right now. As promised, we keep everything short and sweet, so let's get right into it. And for those of you guys who want to dive into a little bit more detail, there's a free community in the link down below, and we actually niche down into the cleaning sector, which is a demand-driven business. In my first 2 years, I generated over $800,000 using the same systems, standard operating procedures, platforms that I provide you guys for free in the community down below. So go ahead and check it out. You've got nothing to lose. These 5 minutes of scrolling through the free school community might change the direction of your life forever. With that being said, let's get into the solutions. With the inconsistency of income, this can be solved in many ways. For most of you, it's marketing. Create a proper sales pipeline, whether you want to go through advertisements or go high level. Apart from that, what you're also going to want is a follow-up list. A lot of you guys are just missing out on free leads that come your way. You get 5 calls and you follow up with 1 or 2. You need to be following up consistently with every single one of these leads, guys. You're throwing money down the drain if you're not following up with these leads. In fact, even if they individually don't require your service, they may know somebody else who does, and that still goes a long way. Apart from that, something that we implement in our company is a commission system. Everybody wins. A commission system is great because this allows your employees to be motivated while spreading word of mouth, generating you more revenue, and allowing you to reach a lot more clients on a daily basis than if you would have tried to do everything yourself. Another thing you can do is set a weekly lead target. There's no point just working as hard as you can blindly. You gotta have targets, you gotta have numbers. How can you possibly work as hard as you can when you have no clarity, when you have no goals, no numbers, no targets? Just genuinely does not make sense. You gotta know what you're working towards. So set a revenue goal and then set a weekly follow-up goal. And let's work as hard as we can to reach that goal. I remember one of my mentors, he did something like 300 calls a day and 3 meetings. And this was the standard he set himself. He had to make 300 phone calls a day, and he had to make 3 meetings happen every single day on a daily basis. And long story short, he's been in the tech sector for over 25 years now, and he's a multi-millionaire. And he probably wouldn't want me saying this because he's very humble, but just something I had to express to show you guys how dedicated, dialed in, and disciplined this individual was. And he simply just wanted it more. And he was willing to put in the work. So these quick tips and tricks, these secret sauce, these hidden gems should really be able to help resolve inconsistency of income if this is something that you're currently struggling with. And now this leads me into my second topic, which could actually be affecting your inconsistency of income: hiring. Because at the end of the day, if it isn't clear enough, the only thing that takes your company forward, apart from reputation, is hiring. We're gonna dive into our standard operating procedure when it comes to hiring employees. And hopefully this helps save you guys time and make the right hires. And as we go through this, I want you guys to snap out of the mindset of hiring people and start focusing on the mindset of hiring systems. Because at the end of the day, the systems will hire the right people. At the end of the day, you can only hire and interview so many people at once. I don't interview a single person in my company. I get my assistant to do it or my manager, and he or she says, James, I think this is a good hire. Let's just review them real quick. And as soon as I get the green light, they're hired and they get right into their training. So let's jump right into my system because this system is goated, guys. It is genuinely amazing and I stand by it. And the system goes something like this. We're on Indeed and ZipRecruiter and honestly a bunch of other platforms. People call our company every single day to apply for a job. And essentially what it'll look like is my assistant will go through these resumes and they'll filter them and they'll make sure that they can legally work in the country. They have a permit for work, of course. She gets their social insurance number, their phone number, a photo of their driver's license, where they live, all these details. And this is actually all done through a Google form that took me like 2 minutes to design with my assistant. In fact, I didn't even design it. I just got her to make the whole thing. And every day I express to my assistant how systems are the thing that take this company forward. You can't be doing everything every single day. Come up with a system and let that system grow the company. So once these people fill out that form, we'll go ahead and we'll book a blitz of interviews. I'm talking 20 people in the span of an hour, and each person's gonna get a couple minutes, right? And we just go through people really quickly. And hey, how are you? How's it going? We'll phone screen them. And for those 5 out of the 20 that are really standing out, my assistant will go ahead and book a Google Meet or a Zoom call with those 5 individuals, and she'll screen them and she'll make sure that they're a good fit. And if they are, then she'll pass that along to me. And typically, whenever she says there's a good hire, then I just give her the green light. I trust her. Trust your people. Lead your people to the point where they're able to make the right decisions. And yeah, as soon as she says that they're a good fit, I'll give her the green light I'll probably just read through the resume real quick, but these days resumes just don't even matter, right? We hire based on attitude as opposed to skill. So that's another really important thing to keep in mind is I'm much more willing to hire a person with a great attitude than a person who's an amazing cleaner, but tends to steal or is dishonest or calls in sick or just gives me a number of headaches to the point where I just feel like firing them. Like there's genuinely no point. Once I give the green light, they don't jump right into in-person training because we've built systems to scale this company to the next level. Systems that allow us to train 100 people at once if we wanted to, which we don't because it's pretty hard to hire 100 people at once. But we will go through phases where we're training 10 people at once and it's the process of elimination. And essentially what this looks like is a full cleaning module, about 3 to 4 hours of content pre-recorded on YouTube that they're going through so that when they come into their first in-person training session, they're able to perform to their fullest capabilities and we're able to just tick boxes and see how well they perform throughout each stage. Everything from cleaning kitchens to vacuuming and mopping to how efficient they are, how well they work within a timely manner. And hopefully this gives a quick example to what you guys could possibly implement when it comes to your training. An example of this is say you run a construction company and you're trying to hire a drywaller. Let's create a system that's highly scalable. As opposed to constantly trading your time to train somebody, come up with a system that's scalable. You can only train so many people at once. You can only fit so many people in one household at once before a client says, hey, stop making my house a training boot camp, which I would personally understand, let's be honest. Create a step-by-step training video on YouTube or any other platform that your heart desires, because this is something that is highly scalable. You make it once and you teach it hundreds of times over, and you're not trading your time for training or money or anything else anymore. This is the entire objective of training and hiring, is something that's completely scalable, very hands-off, and allows everybody to perform at their fullest capabilities. And with that being said, I know that was a lot of secret sauce for hiring, but that's how we do our hiring. I fully stand by it, and I genuinely love the system that we've come up with. To summarize, don't take anybody to a cafe or a Starbucks and interview them there. Let's phone screen them, and if they're good, let's hop on a quick Zoom, and if they're still good, let's send them their training modules. And if they still work out to be great, then let's get them hired, let's get them to train in person, and if they still turn out amazing, then you have yourself an absolute star. And with a star employee means making sure that our reputation is great and minimizing client and customer complaints. Again, whether you're B2B, which is business to business, or B2C, which is business to customer, we want to minimize these customer complaints as much as we can, streamline the process of our goods or services, and make sure we make people happy, because happy people bring in more happy people. As Richard Branson says, a business is nothing more than just good people helping other good people. So let's roll with that. And let's dive into the solutions of customer and client complaints and how to resolve these issues and continue to scale at a pace that is absolutely amazing. Let's start with something that is very easily overlooked when avoiding customer complaints. Have you set proper expectations and scope of work? An example of this is when I walk into a home and quote it, or my manager walks into a home and she quotes a house. For our clean company, the first thing that we will say is, hey, just so you know, with the regular cleanings, typically we don't clean inside the oven and the fridge. Is that okay? A lot of you guys aren't expressing or communicating what the expectations or scope of work of your service is. Another example of this is in our general contracting and waste management company. When we do a painting quote and someone says, oh, I want the walls painted, fine. We provide them with a quote, but we specifically outline all the exclusions such as baseboards, trim, doors, whatever else comes to mind, ceilings, right? You gotta get particular. You have to be very meticulous with everything you do, because unfortunately some people out there are out to get you. But also when you're working with big commercial clients, these people are so busy, they don't have time to think. They just hire people and expect to get the job done right. And again, this is really important that you express your full scope of work so that there's no room for confusion. And then in the event there is confusion or miscommunication, at least your scope of work will clearly outline what's included and what isn't, and if they need something else included, then that can be at an additional cost. With that being said, you can also provide all your employees with a scope of work and complete bulletproof checklist to make sure that they're completing all the work required. An example of this within our cleaning company is on our scheduling platform. We'll just have everything outlined. We'll have bathrooms, kitchen, floors, general dusting, vacuum, mop, remove window screens, baseboards. We outline every single task that's required so that there's no room for confusion for both the company standpoint, but also the client standpoint. Hopefully this video serves as a reminder, as a wake-up call, that if your company is going through a hard time and you haven't implemented these 3 solutions and systems, now is probably the time. The bar is genuinely so low these days. You get a bunch of business owners who don't even care. In fact, you get a bunch of business owners that don't even have proper branding, which is everything, the first impression of your company, and you can't even get that right. And if you guys are struggling with branding, completely fine. Join the free community. We have a whole module. In fact, I think 2 or 3 modules just on branding. Everything from the logo design to your flyers, to your websites, to your yard signs. Guys, this is free secret sauce. There's a free community with countless individuals who are all on the same path, completely locked in. And as every successful person has ever said, you are most likely the average of the top 5 people you surround yourself with. This is what separates the winners from losers. And you guys are gonna blow the competition out of the park. At the end of the day, just remember that business is simple, but it's not always easy. There's principles to follow. It's about 10% implementation of systems and principles. And then the other 90%, which the majority of folks lack, is the discipline, the motivation, the hunger. Is simply put, how badly do you want it? That example of a tech entrepreneur that I gave you, he made it a priority. He made it a non-negotiable to make 300 cold calls on a daily basis and book 3 meetings. And that was the standard he set himself. And look at how far he's come now. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about everything we have to offer, then again, I'll say it for the 500th time because it is so amazing, this community that we've spent so much time, energy, and money to build. Literally, check it out. You've got nothing to lose. We dive into a lot more detail with everything business related. We've got many other business owners in this community who are on the same path, same mindset, and we're always willing to learn everything from one another because that is the way we progress. We're a group of winners who are going to support and earn more and be more and learn more with one another. I wish I had something like this when I first started out, and I didn't, and this is the reason why I built it. After learning and going through years of trial and error and losing tens of thousands of dollars just making the mistakes, which is completely fine because the average person will spend about $30,000 to $50,000 on college or university anyway. These were the steps I was willing to take to achieve great success and be at the level that I'm at today. And I can say with full confidence that I'm very happy to be at the level I'm at today, but I'm not satisfied yet. There is still a long way for me to go. And I'm sure you guys are probably in a similar position as well. Guys, my name is James Duggan. I value your time. Thanks for watching. Let's blow the rest of this year out of the park and make sure that you live life on your own terms.